Extinct and Angus down at the toilets, and it's just like, yeah, you don't need AP. It's like, no, AP, no problem.
Yeah, you don't need to, just bait and throw an advantage toss at the last second, save his life just barely in the top lane. And with how crazy that last game was, I almost don't know how you would adapt your picks and bans here, because so much of Curse's strange team comp was just a reaction to Fizz and Eclypsia's ridiculous team comp. So I'd almost expect similar bans to last game with the 2 counter bans for I'm So Fresh. Xin Zhao, actually, he wasn't picked or banned, was he?
He wasn't picked or banned, but interesting the fact that they don't want to face that. That means there's something they've got in mind that they don't want that against them. I mean, or they could just be purely doing it to leave a ban open, leave something open that forces the hand of Curse.
I would say that if it was a random ban, like a Heimerdinger or something, but Zen is something that's actually...
has been prominent this event. Actually,
something Curse played
Curse did play it against Moscow 5, yeah.
But Eclypsia hasn't played it, so that was kind of just like... they
Luna
were
did okay with it, and another
Luna
jungle ban. So these are all against the Maokai available. They go with a jungler to begin with. What would you pick with? I mean, Shen has been taken out. Jace is available.
I wouldn't be surprised if
Curse.
they picked a Maokai, in all honesty. Yeah. That would be almost a prediction. With all the jungle bans that we've actually seen, picking up a solid jungler like Maokai, he's going to be at a pretty big, hefty premium here. But then again, he had such a successful game on Amumu last match. Maokai might not be that much of a priority. Everything's really up in the air for these two teams because, I mean...
the fact that they're delaying and talking about this one for a long time obviously shows it's a problem.
And they're not even doing the troll picks this time. Like they're actually just...
discussing it.
And just going back, the fact that this is game 3 of the finals is Curse versus Eclypsia, and we watched Moscow 5 play SK in the 3rd place match still just blows my mind. I mean, I feel bad about it now because yesterday we were joking. We were like, oh, when Eclypsia comes out of nowhere and wins the finals, and it's like,
actually, they legitimately may well do that, because they have played very well. It's going to be Taric, taking Taric away from Kuja, so it's not a bad thing. Could we see a Darius pick for... everyone boos Darius.
So hated. Such a hated man.
He was just too strong when you released him. I think that may well be the issue.
To be fair, the only nerf to him was to make his thing not have a window and then reduce the ratio on his bleed. Like, it was very minimal nerfs. And people just kind of got used to him being a jerk, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're just okay with it now.
Just keep on.
Well, not very okay with it, actually.
He's pretty much the standard ban in games, as far as I'm aware.
In a lot of solo queue games, people still don't like playing against him, I think. Yeah.
But we're not going to see Mark Merrill played at this event. I don't think so.
No,
Trinidad needs a bit of love, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in Season 3.
A little bit of love in his life.
Leona.
Well, Leona's actually not got very good stats in this tournament. In fact, lost every game. Every game she was picked in.
It's like 0 for 3 or something, right?
Is that an omen right there? Is that an omen right there? He's lost every game in the tournament so far.
I mean, Ash had almost went 5-1 before last game, and that didn't lead to the victory. So I mean, it's a bit of an omen. I mean, they want to match aggression with the Taric lane going with Leona, so I can see that being even. They've ran Jace in the bottom lane, but that could very well just be a Jace top. That keeps things interesting, at least. Ezreal open. That's something that got picked a whole bunch in the qualifiers, but we haven't seen much of today. But They've really been going around with different stuff.
Worked. I mean, it was game 1, wasn't it? They used Jace in the bottom lane, so it worked for them. They won that game pretty strongly, actually.
The game worked. I don't know if the lane worked. Yeah. It was like the Corki was beating them back, and then when the team fights came, they used the acceleration gate and the utility to kind of take over, but I think they were expecting something more. Jax is a very strong pick for Curse there.
People booing the picks because they're standing, because they know what they're picking.
There's no more fizz.
There's a lot of... There's real money on the line right now. This is real, this match. It's 15,000 for first, I think 7,500 for second. So there's a good 7,500 euros up for grabs.
Or euros,
between them. Yeah, we're in France. They do the pound.
Yeah. So this pick's going to tell us a lot.
You'd be happy with that one, but it's not going to happen.
These next 2 picks are going to tell us a lot because it'll probably narrow down whether Jace is top or bottom lane. They already know what they're going to be going up against in either matchup, so they really get to pick their poison here, what exactly they want to go up against.
The crowd feeling a little tired. There's no big Teemo chance like there was earlier in the day.
They've been baited too many times almost. You can only hit them. You can only cry wolf so many times until they don't believe you.
Dr. Mundo getting selected, but is he going to get played? We did see Moscow 5 running it early on. I think it will be Renekton Shyvana. That looks like a likely pick, and it will be
Bruiser City again for these guys.
So Renekton Jax, we saw that in game 1.
And that was a pretty even matchup up until about 150 minions. Then Renekton started to take over a bit. if I remember. He got the Sunfire Cape and then just cruised through. And this is the super tanky team they ran. Even Leona is an extremely tanky support. Be very curious what they go mid. They could just do a Diana again and try to mirror their Game 1 success against Curse.
Unless they take that Diana away, which could work. Zillion's still available, of course, could go with Jax. That was what they picked in Game 1. Didn't work out for them.
It seemed to be working until they just got outpushed in all their turrets. This time the Nunu is gone, so Shyvana might not be quite as good at poking down turrets, especially Tarek's very good at taking down turrets with his ultimate. And if they picked a Cho'Gath jungle, that would be pretty nice to pull out here, just especially against a team that you know is going to be diving on you so heavily. You'd want something like a Zyra support or Cho'Gath. And then they take the Diana away as well. So
Maluna's played Cho'Gath quite a lot. We saw it in the qualifiers. It's definitely a possibility, and it is going to get locked in Extinct on Diana. So how will they respond? What AP champion will they go with against Diana? It's going to be Orianna. That's a possibility. I mean, I don't know when they're going to lock it in, but we've seen Orianna. Diana's not working today, actually. Alexic versus Tabs.
Yeah,
and Tabs was on Diana that time.
Tabs is not a player who really plays the laid-back casters. He's very much an assassin player. So he'll really want to play something like that. I mean, Fizz is available, in all honesty. Like, it didn't work out that badly. The team comp itself didn't work very well. There's no Katarina available. He would love to have that, or Diana. That's what we've seen him on, really, this tournament. Akali's another assassin. Like, he really, really is an assassin player, so I don't expect him to do an Orianna. Not sure what he's going to go with. He's selecting back
and forth.
Tense in here.
Yeah. There's only 10 seconds left. This will be the final pick of the tournament here at Tales of the Lane. It has been a long day, and thank you very much, everyone, for watching it. This is Deman and Jatt bringing you the action on the English stream. It is going to be a Nidalee locked in. So Nidalee mid. That is a poke comp with Jace and Nidalee.
And it's a mix, though, because if you land enough poke, and then you just all roll in together with Leona, Alt, and Shyvana, it's going to be tricky for them to play this game if they get behind with that team comp, but if they snowball ahead, they might be all right.
So let's take a look at Maluna. I can see you drifting over him. You've already gone to him before I even mentioned it.
So move speed, attack speed, armor, and MR at 18.
Junglers.
Very standard. And yeah, you can do that on most junglers. Then 21-9. Oh, 21-9 should make sure that doesn't get confusing. But defense, utility. Who's going to do something out of the ordinary? I'm curious, because we have a lot of standard rune pages. Let's go back to the main page here. What would...
Well, let's have a look at Tabs' Nidalee.
Yeah,
we've seen Ocelot's Nidalee earlier on.
Yeah, Tabs' Nidalee bottom right.
And let's see if he's gone full AP like... yeah, he has.
Yeah. Very Mastery is probably 21-09. 21-9. Still, I mean, Ocelot did the 10-11.
Actually, the Fizz Mastery.
10-11-9 there, but what's the Fizz Master? Oh, Fizz.
Call it Fizz.
Fizz Mastery page.
Fizz Mastery page.
It's just AP with a little bit of defenses.
He's in the same pages. Anyone else you'd like to look at?
I mean, let's just pick one. Just go for it. Kuja, all right.
What a surprise, a support.
Nice. 2 gold per 10, so he's actually went with a health quint, and a few, I think that's health yellows, would that be? Check out the...
Purple yellows, yeah.
Yeah. All right, no, gold per 10, my bad. Where's he getting the health from? Is
it two health quints?
Yeah, it's 2 health quints, okay. And then he's making up his gold per 10 with gold per 10 yellows. All right, masteries-wise, he's got a bunch of armor as well, so rune pages are good. Masteries. Yes. 115-14, so really support masteries. I'm learning a lot about the differences in their masteries, but it does seem to be very almost stagnant between a lot of these teams. Not much crazy. The only odd thing I saw was Ocelot's kind of triple spec.
Yeah.
And then rune-wise, there was the dual pen runes on Fizz that were pretty cool. But yeah, we can just talk about the game, really, because this has been such a crazy tournament. And even this composition, it's very bruiser heavy with poke. They got to be very careful. Diana is so good at shutting these down. Diana, Cho'Gath, Jax can all really jump in, and if they get the first Diana vacuum, everything else is going to chain on that for Curse. So Eclypsia has to be very careful not to get themselves in those situations. And really, when Eclypsia's won, it's because they've been able to take turrets early. So really, Curse has to spend as much energy and resources as possible to prevent that from happening. Because really, that's been what's decided every game for Eclypsia, win or loss.
And the ideal situation, I guess, for Curse is that Diana lands his Crescent Slash, goes in, ultis on them, pulls them in with the Moonfall, Cho'Gath Rupture on the bottom of it, Curse Angus in there, just counter-strike and do whatever the heck he wants to do, and just completely shredding them, True Shot Barrage across. They've got a potential to pull at least, with that moonfall, you'd expect to maybe 2 or 3 just to get pulled straight into that. Because, you know, naturally people clump together. It happens. How would they counter that? I mean, you got the Leona ultimate going to go out there. Shyvana could jump across. But honestly, outside of that, Renekton's going to be in there, obviously, doing whatever he can do to try and prevent the situation going snowbally. But Nidalee and Jace, they want to be on the outside of all that. They want to be away from it.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be about them establishing a front line. So if Renekton can get tanky enough like he did in that game 1, they're going to be able to kind of stop them from shoving through that. And then from there, Shyvana would be able to go in with Renekton, and they would be able to keep the distance with the other guys. It's about positioning and mainly just making sure your tanks are there.
And the crowd pump comes out, and final game of the day. Why not? These guys have been here. Stella, we are at 9:40.
It's really almost 10 to 10. It's almost been 12 hours.
Yeah, so a full 12 hours, these guys, and they're still lively. It's definitely dwindling a little, and I can't blame them because
I'm dwindling a little bit.
They were super lively earlier on. There they are. There's the crowd on your screen. Still very much a lot of people out there keeping things going. There's 2 tiers to this place. That's the big projector.
And the second tier actually goes back quite a ways.
There's a lot more people in the second tier, to be honest. And there are teams. They are underway already in the game. You can see the focus on Angus's face there, and a smile on the faces. And,
there's the Eclypsia manager.
I don't know who
a nice
it is,
hat and a suit.
But he's in a hat and a suit. He's dressed, and he stood there. You know, that exact same pose. He stood there, arms behind his back, the entire day.
It's endurance right there.
That's endurance. He hasn't sat down. Fly's sat down the whole day, I think. So he's got one over on Fly. Let's see if the team has got one over on Curse. As it stands, it is going to be Curse Gaming right there on your screen. EU. Should they be in the house? Well, let's see if the results decide that, because there is the blue screen and the red team is Eclypsia. We do see a pause, but you can see they're already underway. You can see the concentration on the players' faces, so they know the game is going.
Pause won't be for too long.
And actually, I was told that Creaton, during the end of it, we saw the pause in the last game, actually had lost comms, but they said, doesn't matter, we're winning
just
anyway.
keep going.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah, and it's interesting, actually. You see Kuja, I'm looking at Eclypsia's format. He's the support, and he's sitting in the middle of the 3, which is a little odd. I wonder how they're actually coordinating that.
Well, I mean, he could be the one making the calls. You don't know. Supports do obviously have a lot of map awareness. They generally see a lot what's coming because that's their job. They are checking for the danger permanently, so they just inherently pick up on all the damage. So level 1 team fights potentially coming out here. I would guess Curse would probably be looking for it. In fact, both teams may look for this fight.
Yeah, both teams are pretty solid at level 1. I'd almost give a slight advantage to Curse because they can chain more crowd control together, but I don't see them. I really don't see Eclypsia wandering in like they did last game, because that really backfired and arguably lost them the game right away. So they have to make sure to be very cautious here.
Curse went straight into that bush actually where they had the last fight, so they were
looking for it.
They were looking for it. Angus was ready and waiting. Obviously, he could take his counter strike, which immediately would block a lot of the damage. It's looking like Eclypsia are going to go for a late invade on red to me, and actually Curse are backing away from this one, so they might get caught out by this. They're just going to go straight across to their wolves and blue by the looks of it, so Eclypsia may well be able to steal a march on them here, getting into the jungle.
So maybe the delayed invade from Eclypsia, but this is going to be very telling. All 4, aside from Renekton, just waiting down here. You can see that there's 2 members in Wraiths.
They've just
They might actually go for a kill here. They would need Renekton or Leona to... No, they would need Leona to land the stun here. She started with her Q. They're hoping someone runs through this brush so they can just smack them down. And Extinct just goes the other direction. Thinks about coming in. This is tense.
This is tense, but they know Maluna's on there now. They spotted him back away, so they're going to be 4-man round. Creaton's there as well. It's Maluna. They've gone for. They've dunked straight in.
Wow.
He's going to go down. First blood comes out. They're going to get to steal that red away. They don't even need to use the smite either, but they do. And that's I'm So Fresh picks up the red buff, and that was a clean kill. He just didn't know what was coming to him. Poor Maluna goes down, and it's Tabs that picks up the first kill.
And top lane actually has a whole bunch of trading, but that kill really came down to Kuja's pink ward in the tri-brush, because they knew they could safely invade, because they knew they didn't have vision on them, and it really worked out. They've gained a lot off of that, and that was actually a reason last game why he fell behind early on Jatt, because he doesn't start with any items. He starts with nothing but wards, and unless they pull off something like that, they're in trouble.
And Angus actually putting a lot of damage down on towards enemies in that top lane. Got to be careful that doesn't start slipping away from him as well. We saw he's using a lot of health pots as well. We can take the gold away. We can see how much he's chugging through. He's having to just burn through those health pots. And as it stands, we do see Tabs return to lane. He's still got a chunk of gold, so he hasn't spent that yet. And we are seeing the blue buff. Actually, Shyvana trying to pick it up. So Tabs is actually leashing the blue buff. We just saw him head on down there, and Tabs returns back to it. There is the blue buff being picked up by I'm So Fresh. Had to use his smite, of course. Is going to be available any second, so he's going to get to use it on the blue as soon as it comes back up.
And there is no way whatsoever Maluno will be able to clear his buffs. He's distinctly behind in this game. And oh my, this could be another one of those. We've seen a lot of one-sided games this tourney. That was a very, very good start for Eclypsia.
A very good start indeed. And if we could press X and look across towards the items, I'm interested to see just how many potions that Renekton is chugging through. But Piri just doesn't seem to care. He doesn't want to listen to me. You can look on your screen.
Renekton and Jax are actually both out of health potions. They've been trading so hard in that top lane. And really, Renekton coming out ahead of it there. He's got about 200 more health and the creep wave on his side. So Anguish going to be in a bit of trouble unless he gets some gank help. And with how far away Maluno is, he's going to have to go back and shop.
Yeah, so as it stands at the moment, Tabs with Extinct in this mid lane. CS is staying pretty close between the two. Only 4 CS difference. That could just balance out between the push back and forward. Kuja trying to be aggressive. It's both teams really both trying to be aggressive on this bottom lane. There's a lot of bullying back and forward. You can see Creaton trying to put damage down on Kuja, but this is a kill lane for them. It worked out okay for them with Heidel on Jace last time. It feels to me that now they've picked Kuja on Leona. They want to make sure they get kills.
It's strange though, because again, they're just getting kind of pushed back and out farmed, and Taric is almost the killer of kill lanes because he puts so much passive armor in the lane and is so hard to kill himself that it's just incredibly hard to aggress onto him. They might have just picked this Jace for absolute utility. Leona, again, just for teamfight initiation, because with how that lane's going and with how the game went before, as this game comes up top lane, they can't expect that lane to work.
They're going towards I'm So Fresh. He's going to walk back to his turret. He should be fine there. That's a lot of damage going back and forth here on the bottom lane as well. Super Raz is actually in between them. Kuja, there's Ignite running on him at the moment. You can see that Maluna's coming around. He might catch out Heidel. Heidel taking out very low. Has to use the heal. There isn't another Dazzle. They can't tank it up. They just keep forcing him backwards. Is he going to back away? He's going to chug through the health pots. And that is just going to keep them back at base. And they're just going to try and outfarm them. 33 to 25, continuing to pressure them on the turret. Heidel's going to have his work cut out to try and pick up some CS from this push.
And you can see already that that lane is struggling. I mean, they didn't have to go back and shop, but 38 to 26, and them really just having to burn their summoner spells defensively is an issue for them. Let's take a look mid lane, though, because Extinct versus Tabs is going to be a pretty big matchup, and so far it's pretty much even with the early kill going to Tabs. So Nidalee at 38, Diana at 34, now going to be up to 37, trading back and forth. I say that word a lot, I think. I think you picked up on it as well. But it's going to be close in the mid.
It's going to be very close. So these teams, as it stands, you can see the top lane is really the only advantage. Renekton was bullied pretty heavily early on. We can see that Jax has actually gone back, which is probably why he's behind in the CS, because he went back to buy that Doran's shield, which means sooner or later he's actually going to bait back and forward, and he's going to drive him. But he's losing out a little bit here. I'm So Fresh comes back up to the top. He's going to try and sneak into the bush there. Anguish needs to be careful he doesn't get baited into this. And Anguish is backing away. Did he catch a glimpse of him there? I'm not too sure. I guess he must have, sensed something was up. They're diving on towards Kuja. Kuja forced to back off, use the acceleration gate to get the advantage. And actually Heidel catching that acceleration gate and hitting them with that shock blast just at the point of the gate.
Well, let's just go back to top. This is a huge advantage for Renekton. He didn't notice the gank. He did notice the level 6 Renekton charging in his face, though, because that early trade where they were both level 3 and the wave was pushed to Renekton's tower really won the lane for him. And here comes Tabs roaming bottom. They're in big trouble. Well, that spear hit.
Oh, the spear dodged, and he had, of course, the ward there. They're going to go to it. Tries to pounce on towards Creator. One more hit will do it. Tabs tries to finish it off, gets the pounce across, picks it up. They're going to turn back up to a Super Raz. It's not going to get Super Raz. They turn it back around. Extinct on towards Heidel. The spear comes through. It's not enough. Heidel goes down to Extinct there. Extinct's going to try and turn on towards Tabs there. They both have to back away, and it was a 1-for-1 trade, but it was the AD carries that both went down in the lane.
The spear's not quite landing there for Tabs. Might have been able to pick up the second kill, but they will have to settle for the 1-for-1. With that, however, there's I'm So Fresh counter jungling the red buff. They're going to take that pretty much on recharge and try to keep Maluno out of this game. He has recovered fairly well from the counter jungle, to be all fair. Heart of Gold and 40 minion kills. So not making that fatal mistake that we saw SK make fairly often. When they lose the early buff, the jungler is not falling hopelessly far behind quite yet.
And Maluno is going to stop Extinct spots. Actually, Maluno is going to get in trouble here in the jungle. I'm So Fresh just hiding out there. Sneaks across the race, sneaks away, not really going to pick anything up. Tons of damage meanwhile at the top here.
Oh, he's actually coming in for gank mid.
He's coming in for the gank on mid. It's going to be Extinct they're going to go for. Uses I'm So Fresh ultimate onto him actually to try and get away there. So ultimate's not going to be available, but it's a pretty quick cooldown on him. Angus returning to that top lane. Gained the farm back.
And he's got the levels back too, so really a good recovery. Not really sure how that happened because he had pretty much 2 levels on him. Now it's down to 1, but with the lane shoving, he should be able to freeze it out a bit here. Whoa, here comes Anguish, not wanting him to do that. If he can get the lane in the turret, it's a win, but this is a big trade.
There's Renekton popping his ultimate. Is it going to be enough? Anguish manages to get the stun down. He goes for the flash, counter flashes straight away, avoids the damage. I'm So Fresh was coming up as well, a little bit too early. You're going to see the 2 AP mids actually meeting. They do back away. And Extinct wisely using the path to go around the side. Has picked up the blue. They might dive on the top lane here. If we go back to the top lane, if we could, they're going to come out of the tri-bush. It's Extinct they're going for, but Maluna is there, puts the rupture down. They flash out there. Ultimate used by I'm So Fresh. Meanwhile, you can see Anguish. He's trying to run away from his turret. He knows he's in a little bit of trouble. Baits in Anguish there. Baits in enemies. And Anguish is going to get dropped. It's I'm So Fresh that picks up the kill. Very much tank between them. Good trade. And they do pick up the kill. They may even continue pushing on towards that top turret. Maluna's got to be careful. He doesn't get dived on.
They could dive it. They could go.
They've got enough hit points to trade it. They are going to go for it. This I'm So Fresh that gets bounced. He's going to continue through. The tanking went back and forward. Now they're going to see counter back on. Tons of damage. Can't afford to take one tower hit. They're going to do it. Oh! Trace it back. Is it going to be enough? I'm So Fresh is going to take 2 tower hits. He's going to get away. And well, it's a bad trade though, but he still comes out on top because they got 1 kill and assist.
That's very true. Maluna healed a lot off the creeps, which really caught them off guard when they were trying to go for that kill, but that was very much just brute force ganking. Went right in behind, just burned their ultimates, tanked numerous, I'd almost say a dozen turret hits during the process of both those ganks, and still came away 2 for 1. So when you brute force gank like that, you're coming out pretty solid, and good adjustment here by I'm So Fresh, getting those kills, actually picking up Arrigo's Lantern. Last time he played Shyvana, he went all defense, and that really did not work out for them. So a much more offensive path this game.
So lane's very much even, I guess you could say, because there's a slight advantage in terms of CS in that mid lane. But of course, Tabs has got the 2 kills. Bottom lane is very much even as well. Tabs is going to pick up the blue buff here, despite the fact he's still using that hideous Nidalee skin. I don't know why players have been using that one around. I guess it's something that everyone bought. It was the winter skin, wasn't it? We are on live, so it's actually one he owns. Legitimately bought that. Maluna, oh, he's just walked past the ward. They know he's exactly there. He's just walked past the ward in the bottom of the screen. So they're going to back away from this one. And immediately they do return. Top lane, they've actually traded positions, so they're kind of in each other's faces at the moment, just farming out on those big, massive creep wave actually for Anguish here. So Anguish is going to shove the lane. I'm So Fresh already gaining position, ready and waiting for this one. You can see him heading up there. So if Anguish continues to push this wave, he's going to get a Shyvana in his face.
And they're going to try to repeat kind of what happened last time. I imagine tons of damage is going to try to freeze the lane here, and if Anguish comes in to trade, he'll trade back, and that's when Shyvana's going to come for him. Let's see if they have the same pattern this time.
They spotted the ward going down, and Anguish is keeping an eye on this one. I would see if I'm So Fresh. Here we go. He's going to go aggressive. He's just baiting him in as much as he can. You can see tons of damage, trying to pull him towards it. Here comes I'm So Fresh. Have they got enough? They go straight through. Counter-strike is actually on. That manages to land this time. Leap strikes away. Very nicely played. Wraiths were already picked up as well by Extinct. I thought Extinct might come up and help out. Instead, he just goes on about his business.
Great escape by Anguish. You can see he's very comfortable on Jax.
Yeah.
They're pretty much just going to dime off the turret because they know
they're going to
I don't know if they want to take the turret. They're especially going to take the creeps, and actually you'd think they'd counter take the dragon, but they actually might be going for a dive.
Oh, mid lane, they're diving. You can see as we whiz up the screen, Tabs was getting caught out by Extinct there. Instead, that is the top turret gone down, so that is advantage, and the spear lands on Extinct. Oh, when he dodges the second one.
So now with that
he's going to dive on towards
down.
Tabs a little bit there. Crushing Strike comes through, but the spear is still continuing. We do say I'm So Fresh in the mid coming round back on towards Tabs. Tabs has got to be careful. They don't go for another dive on him there. Extinct has gone very aggressive, but uses I'm So Fresh ultimate there. Maluna comes back up, cancels the rupture, but just walks around it. And it's very, very tight at the moment.
So now that Renekton has taken that top turret, you can see they're pinging down really hard on the dragon. Anguish is going to try to pick up farm in this lane, but they very much just have a 5-man force on the dragon, especially with the blue buff in Italy. They'll just spam up the heals and poke them off of harassment. Diana went back to base. This is a free dragon in exchange for almost nothing.
And Eclypsia are going to pick this one up. There it is. Tabs finishes it off with I'm So Fresh. And feeling probably fresh, maybe. I don't know. It seems to be working for him. I tell you what, this tournament really is hinged a lot on how well the junglers play. It seems to be a big part of it in this game.
Especially Eclypsia, because I'm So Fresh has dominated some games. Maluno has dominated some games. And both these teams do seem somewhat jungler focused just in the way they play. It's a different person kind of dominating each game we see them win.
Actually, Eclypsia putting a lot of pressure on that middle turret right now. As soon as Extinct does return, already half hit points gone down. And Extinct, I don't think we've ever seen him in this position when he's played Diana. He's normally very dominant. He's still only 1-0, of course. He could start picking up the kills, but Tabs, he's already got that Athene's Unholy Grail built up, so there's a lot of damage already coming from those spears for Tabs. And as it stands, BF Sword picked up by Jace. Jace trying to keep on top, but as we saw before, they didn't get the kills in that lane, and Ezreal has outfarmed him.
Oh, and they ping in on the blue buff. Interestingly enough, it seems like every game where Eclypsia gets an early turret, they've ended up winning. With that early turret, they have a 3,000 gold lead. What's Curse going to do to counter? They would need to repel this blue invade first and foremost.
Oh, the spear comes through. It actually hit Extinct.
Smite steal.
He smite steal, yeah. I'm So Fresh just strolls up and gets it. And wow, I feel we're slightly ahead of the crowd.
We are slightly ahead of the
yes,
stream.
we are, because it's not on live.
They had a pause.
They had a pause and they didn't jump back. We did. So we're going to get delayed reactions from the crowd. That's fine. It's their props, not ours. Extinct's getting dived on here, and they're all coming from every direction. He's also got Jax there. Jax jumps on towards Tabs, but Tabs is so hard to catch out, and Angus takes a spear in the back. And they do both back off from the lane. Super Res and Creaton back down in this bottom lane. Oh, and you're trying to sync it up. I see what you're doing. Syncing us up with the crowd.
Well. Now the crowd will jump back and we'll be behind. Now, who knows? Anyway, Sunfire Cape is getting built by Renekton. That seems to be his item of choice. It's strange because so often you see people end their builds with Sunfire Cape, yet it's actually the strongest item as early as you can get it, because the magic resist values are typically lower early game, and the damage of Sunfire Cape is completely
static.
Helps
with the farm quite big, yeah.
And it also helps you just push the lanes, which really pressures Angus back on Jax.
So as it stands, Maluno trying to keep them at bay. The gold, you can see the differences across the board. Maluno's going to take a spear. Extinct returns back to that bottom lane down there. You can see that's Heidel they're going for once again, but they're not able to finish this one off. Creaton's trying to take him low enough. Has he got True Shot Barrage available? No, he hasn't. He's already used it. Must have opened an exchange with it. So let's have a quick look across the gold. You can see there's a 1,300 advantage in that top lane. That's a big gap. And that's really the gap between it. You can see it's 3k gold difference, 4.2 in kills. Middle lane is actually quite a big difference as well. It's nearly 1,000 gold there, 900 hit point gold, sorry. Bottom lane very much even. Supports actually, there's a big difference there. The fact that Kuja is quite far ahead. It's got about 800 gold advantage, and that's purely down to the assists.
And it's also down to him getting that earliest right at the start of the game.
Heart of Gold early on.
And got the Heart of Gold going, because you can see there's no GP10 yet kicking on Super A's. So that just really shows the difference getting an early Heart of Gold, and why often supports get early minion kills. But that's not something Curse has decided to do this game. They've allowed Super A's to actually fall quite far behind, not getting any of that by 16 minutes. And it's so strange looking at them run that Jace bottom lane, because it's almost a gimmick with how infrequently you see it, and they know they're not really going to win the lane with it, so they really have to capitalize on it once they move into the team fight and roaming phase. They really seem to want it just for that acceleration gate and for that poke. I'm wondering when they're going to execute on that strategy.
Curse just repel the attack once again on the turret, but every time this happens, a few more hit points go down. It's slowly but surely dropping away in the hit points. Jax is coming around the side. He's going to try and get a poke and jump onto them, but I'm So Fresh was ready and waiting, as he seems to have been all tournament, in the right place at the right time. They catch Tabs out there, get a silence on him, but he pounced away just at the right moment, so no dives come out again. Curse in a 3-on-3 in this mid lane, seemingly self-pushing, poking. Curse are actually starting to back up here. This is a dangerous situation. They're going out towards Heidel. Leona ultimate used, though, trying to blind them with the Sunfire. And they just back away and again repel the damage. They are just avoiding it in that bottom lane. They don't seem to have enough to finish them off.
They're really just barely escaping all these engagements, hanging on by a thread in that lane. And it's the Ninja Tabi double Thorns and a Phage by Ezreal. It just eliminates the Jace aggression. So he's went Mercury treads again. He did this in the first game as well. just trying to avoid the CC reduction. They're going to have to give up a bit of this turret if they're not careful, because they could get Dome. They do have heal, and there's also members coming down to support. So once again, I think Curse is probably just going to have to back away.
Trying to bait them in there, but they'd realized they'd already passed that ward in the river. Managing to keep the back. I'm So Fresh had come down, as well as Tabs. Tabs having to go back and immediately fend off his turret. Kuja very low, Heidel very low, but everyone backing off. They could try and put pressure on this bottom turret here. It was taken pretty low early on. Well, Kuja and Heidel are going to back off, so they've chose not against it. Actually, it's full hit points, so tell a lie. Shows how much I'm losing it.
Yeah, well, they've been getting pressured so hard in that lane that they really haven't had a chance to get close to it. They did take the top turret, but that's seemingly the only one they've had pressure on, so it's a little bit unlike their first game where they were victorious, because it's just the Renekton this time that's putting pressure on. The rest of the map is getting global objectives, but not really winning the lanes, and their other advantages just come from kills. I think that was a ward.
I think that was a ward that died somewhere in the distance. Oh, there's going to be another one. But he can't get close to it. I'm So Fresh defending it. Dragon is going to be spawning right now. They're not in position. Anguish is on that top lane.
And again, Renekton's able to roam down. So, and again, actually, Extinct is shopping as well. This is a replay of the first Dragon, and that's Dragon number 2, completely uncontested and without a sacrifice.
And the ward does get taken down. Actually, the ward gets more of a cheer than the Dragon. They should be cheering that Dragon going down. Can they try and trade the turret? I don't think they can. I don't think Anguish can get enough on that turret in the top there. If we look towards the top turret, you can see that Renekton is returning back there. Don't think he's really put a great deal of damage on the turret at all.
What?
Yeah, not a lot of damage on it at all. You really need to be using them cursor keys, Piri. That mouse nudging for the screen, honestly.
He'll get there.
Or he could just scroll. His middle mouse button scrolling now. He hasn't quite rebound the middle mouse button yet. Because you get that scroll in now and again.
These are all the camera tips that you learn over time.
Yeah, when you do spec mode over a long period of time. Maluno feasting up. I think he's up to about 6. He looks like he's pretty much the full-size Loch Ness monster now. He's, I think he may be one off.
6-stack Cho'Gath with an Oracles as well, so very potent target there. Going to be tough to take down, seeing as it's crazy. Cho'Gath gets 2,300 health at level 10 with only a heart of gold as health items once you 6-stack.
He gets very, very strong, very tanky. And also becomes a big-ass target because she just can't click anything else. He gets in the way. So as it stands, you can see the blue buff being exchanged across to Extinct, I believe it is. Or I'm guessing that's what's happening. Jax is kind of taking it himself right now. Did he just delay or did he pick up the blue buff? I think he was just delaying.
Yeah, Extinct has the blue buff. Anguish was just there, and now they're pushing down mid, really trying to force on, but there's no way they're pushing through the
pressure in the mid
Renekton.
turret. Yeah, and then they're going to have to back away in a second because they can see everybody coming. Anguish wanted to engage it, but 3v2 is not the right choice. Maluna now back in towards the bottom lane. They ping it straight away. He crosses across the... I think it's a trap actually in the bush, and there's going to be the rupture towards Kuja. The Ezreal True Shot barrage goes across. Isn't enough. They do take him down, and now there's going to be countered straight away. Super Az is going to get low. Maluna goes down. That's an Oracle burn. They're going to turn this into a triple kill as Creaton's in trouble as well. He's not going to avoid the damage. I don't even know where he's running. He's just delaying the inevitable.
Triple kill.
It's a triple kill for Heidel in that bottom lane. Mid turret, Extinct is trying to push it, but it's going to be the bottom turret going down. Eclypsia, you could take this one.
Huge turnaround.
Oh, mid lane.
And mid lane.
It's actually enemies diving on towards Extinctor. I don't think he's got the damage. Instead, he do take the bottom turret, and you can see enemies getting in there, just forcing Extinctor away from that turret. But the triple kill, that is going to turn things very big in his favor because they were so close in that bottom lane.
And they're still pushing that bottom turret. As we see Extinct getting dove on, all the pressure seemed to just appear for them. He might try to flash and finish. No, he comes back to him.
Why
and he's going to finish him off.
Did he come back? He's trying to do enough. Actually, he tried the moonfall and it missed there.
And the turret.
Down the bottom, they get the inner turret, but now Curse going to try and counter push this one. Extinct's going to be I'm So Fresh, gives himself up as meat to the slaughter, and the rest of the team back up there. He was the sacrificial lamb. And well, Eclypsia with a great push on that bottom lane. We saw it against SK within 5.5 minutes. This time it's taken 22 minutes to do, but it still does just as much damage.
And they still just flew through the towers, and now it's 3 turrets to 0. Really 7,000 gold just kind of exploding onto the scene here with the Dragon advantages adding up. 2 of those, 3 turrets, 4 kill advantage, and a last Whisper already completed onto Hadel. So this is where they're going to want to try to start grouping up and poking, especially once Tabs gets his death cap. He actually went with the blue elixir, so you can see that really Tabs did on Italy.
It's always a crowd pleaser.
This is where they come out because they got that plus Shock Blast. Both of those skills used to get those oohs and ahs. Here they come mid. They're going to siege this.
Yeah, if we go back to the items, you can see Renekton is about to go back. He didn't buy, actually. He went back, but he didn't buy. Which
Saving
went back
up
for
for a Guardian Angel, most likely. He didn't want to sell his Dorn's Blades, and he wanted to get to the GA as fast as possible, so that makes a bit of sense, but coming back with 1,400 gold is a bit of a risk.
So as it stands at the moment, you can see Tabs returning with almost that death cap. Once he gets that on, those spears are definitely going to hurt. Trinity Force completed, meanwhile.
Whoops.
Yeah, don't stand there and take those.
Don't stand still.
Stand still. Kind of make yourself an easy target. Trinity Force was completed by Ezreal, though, which is something, but look at that. You can take the Wraiths now.
That is unreal.
Yeah. Just take a full Wraith, spear straight to it. Meanwhile, Last Whisper actually completed by Jace early on. She went straight flat item off that triple kill and the 2 towers they took. Tab's continuing to put pressure on that mid turret. You've got to be careful. Angus is coming down right now, and we'll just back up. Angus has kind of been in a static situation between that top lane and mid lane. Every time he's come down, you can't catch Nidalee. It's something you just can't do.
He's trying to roam back into the mid lane because he's lost top so badly, but just with good warding and good mobility in mid lane, he's just been completely shut down. And even with all the roaming that he's done on Renekton, Angus has been pretty much shut down. It's going to be a while before he really takes off. He needs a really crazy team fight to go his way, or he needs a lot more time farming. Because here is the pressure moment for Eclypsia. They're really going to try to siege this down. Creatine this turret is not long for this world.
It is being forced down while this happens. Angus is now, he's actually backing by the looks of it. He's not going to come down. He wants to back off. He's going to stay mid. The call's obviously been made on comms. Should have come down. Creaton needs to spear. That means it's almost certainly.
And they're going to keep going here.
They could keep going. They did it on the bottom lane. They could keep going. They know that Angus is now backing. They could get the turret before he manages to get back, because he's going to go back to base and run back in there. They're keeping the pressure on the turret. They don't have the creep wave this time around, but the next one that comes through could be enough. Creaton eats another spear. He's going to have to go back to base, because that next spear could well be the last.
Seemingly accelerating his hit rate on those Nidalee spears. Oh, that one would have been a kill if Creaton would have been able to dodge it. And everyone having to be very cautious and backing for Curse, although they back up and actually opt for a blue steal. So the siege is somewhat successful because it stopped the split push and saved the top turret, but they still didn't get that second inner.
The similarities between this game where SK played in the qualifiers is quite remarkable. This is the exact same position we saw, I nearly said Hotshot, Ocelot, doing the exact same thing, just keeping them, spearing them on that inner turret, just caused them problems, and they had no reply to it. It was, I think it was, who was it against? It wasn't Eclypsia, because SK were the only team that came from Group A.
The only team that got out of that group. It might have been Mouse Sports.
Or Mouse Sports, yeah, one of those. So
they're going
to dive for it straight in there, and it's going to be Angus getting on top of them. Is it going to be enough, though? This is the combo we said that had to happen, but they haven't got the damage to back it up, and instead they do get one kill, but they're going to trade it and lose around about 3 or 4, because Eclypsia forcing them all back. Tons of damage going very, very deep on towards the turret. The spear coming through on towards Creaton, and they pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, triple kill. Then they can get a Quadra. Oh, he flashed through. He's got the Guardian Angel, though. Creaton's going to back away. The minions come through. They're going to take the inner turret. And the Quadra's still available for...
Oh no, he's taking the turret.
He's tanking the turret. Is it going to be enough? And he does manage to change it. He comes back around. Creaton there. Look, it seems like they were trying to give him the Quadra. They wanted to give him the Quadra, but it wasn't going to happen. And Renekton lives to face another day, as does Creaton. Oh, unless he stops dead in his tracks, Heidel could finish him.
He needs to get out of there. He's just trying to find the right window. And
oh no! He's had to dash through, and that's not going to happen. And he does manage to back away, but they picked up 4 kills and a triple kill on Renekton. Renekton's going to go back and be very, very chunky right now. And honestly, the kills and assists across the board helped out. He's picked up another 1,400, another 1,500 on Tabs, 1,100 on Heidel, and they're all going to go back and buy items. Let's have a look at those items and see what they're going to pick up with all of that gold. Meanwhile, Curse are going to try and pick up the dragon. This could be their first dragon, I think.
It will be their first dragon. I don't think there's a way Eclypsia stops this, but with that fight that we just saw, Renekton did such a good job of just tanking the turret for the duration and allowing them to just crush in through. So Bloodthirst are now completed. They have the death cap as well on Nidalee, so the poke is going to be even more immense.
Spears.
That was 1.
Super Az nearly losing his entire life. And when Nidalee gets to the point where he can nearly one-shot you, you know you're in desperate trouble.
Creatine trying to split push, but they're back again on this middle turret. they actually didn't shop on Renekton, but they're going to get this turret down on this push. The siege is immense, and if Curse can't hard initiate, because they had the hard initiate and they lost the fight, that's when they really start being in trouble. They have to get a better pick or just better focus. Renekton did such a good job tanking that fight that Curse really just didn't have an answer.
Well, they tried doing the combo, you know, Extinct going in, Moonfall in, Jack's jumping on top, but they just didn't have the damage to back it up. They hit everything right, but Eclypsia survived it. And now that that's happened, that's their combo. If their combo doesn't work, what do?
They wait. They just have to wait until they have more farm. Anguish is not there. And yeah, it's easy to say wait against a poke comp when one melee spear can take you completely down, and they complete death caps and bloodthirsters while you turtle. So, man, this is looking very much like we could see Eclypsia becoming the Tales of Lane champions, but it's not over yet. Poke comps have been known to not be able to finish games once they get in around the end. And they didn't actually take too many turrets off that last fight. It was just the one, and that was on the return visit. They gave up the dragon. Triple kill onto Renekton, even though he's yet to shop. So they actually need to convert some of this gold that's sitting in their inventories before they look for the next big fight, because everyone on Eclypsia is sitting on over 680 gold. So it's just, you know, multiply that by 5 and the 8,000 gold advantage turns into 5K. They got to be careful here not to overcommit and think they're in a bigger lead than they actually have.
And I feel the winner of this tournament, the winner really at the moment, is the European region. The European region has picked up, they've got Curse and Eclypsia now coming through as new strong teams. Fnatic beat Eclypsia 2-0 just last weekend in the Paris Games Week. So obviously they've become stronger again. So the European team seems to be growing back in place, starting to reclaim a little bit over those like massive teams of CLG, EU, and Moscow 5. Creaton losing half his health with a single spear. That's insane.
And to expand on your European comment, it's just, it was just Moscow 5 and COG EU for so long, but just in this tournament alone, it's almost expanded to 5 or 6 teams just immediately when you realize Curse and Eclypsia are there, as well as Fnatic, who barely didn't make it to this tournament as well. So here's the Baron Force. They're very strong. All ultimates are up. They're going to look to peel. They will not want to race to Baron fight, and they can engage off this, I think. Or maybe they're just going to go for Baron. Creation's not quite there. This is going to be a fight.
They're going to go on towards Maluna. It seems to be the person that could dive on. Heidel's taking a lot of damage from Angus. They do manage to take Heidel down very early in this fight. They're going to take Kudra down as well. Curse could come out on the back of this one. And that's going to be another kill. That's going to be Nidalee going down. It's going to be enemies dropped as well. Enemies is down as a double kill. And my God, Curse have turned this one around. They could get the ace here. They're going to dive on towards it. They get the Rupture. They got the Rupture on I'm So Fresh. They're going to burn his Oracle. They've kept a Baron alive as well. They've managed to take him down. The Baron, where did I miss that one? I just missed the kill. Actually, I think he just died to the Baron. He died to the Baron.
Yep. That's
what it was. They tried to keep the leash on the Baron, and the Baron killed him. Oops. But doesn't matter because it's an ace, and that was a great turnaround by Curse. They keep themselves in it.
And that could have been much worse if they ended up losing the Baron. Eclypsia made the fatal mistake of not fully peeling off of Baron. They fought in the pit while Baron was still hitting them, and it really just lost them the fight. Another huge thing there is Extinct did an excellent job of killing Hadel right at the start. Jace has been their cleanup in the past few fights, and when he's wiped off the map right away, they just had no power left in that team fight. They got to be really careful not to, when you run a poke comp, putting your back against the wall is the last thing you want to do. And when they forced Baron, they did just that.
And the bonus of Tabs, he needs to be out of the fight. He needs to be just throwing those spears, those javelins from a long way out. He was right in there, and they managed to get him smashed. And he has no armor, nothing really to help him out, apart from that single heal that he can do. But once you get caught, he's going to be squishy. And that's obviously the bonus of Nidalee. You don't catch him, he just keeps running away. But once he did get caught out, that's a problem. And that's definitely going to be a wake-up call for Eclypsia. You are not done in this final just yet, because Curse Gaming are not going to go down without a fight. They've now got True Trinity Forces complete. They've got the Zhonyas. They could try and engage again here. They're feeling very confident. And look at that, Creaton catching on towards Tabs. A couple of Mystic shots. Took his health quite down, but he just heals it back up. But they are going to continue poking.
And they should be feeling very confident right now. It is a poke comp against an engage comp. And when you have a window after you win a fight, you should just continue to try and engage. It's going to be a matter of, will Eclypsia put themselves in engageable positions at this point? Because after that disaster of a fight when they thought they had the game in hand, and we were almost giving them credit for the win, it got completely turned around.
Well, Angus getting caught out there. Rupture goes through, not in the right place from Maluno though. Oh, spear lands on Creaton. That's what splits it apart though. If he just gets a little catch on like that, he's got a lifesteal it all back, and there's just nothing really to give that lifesteal on at the moment. There's no Zeeks on the team, hasn't got really any lifesteal items on him. So he's trying, ooh, that spear looked like it was close.
Even with just the couple Doran's Blades, he is still vamping up a fair bit. So the poke will become less and less effective as they build more and more sustain mechanisms.
That's got to be a Bloodthirster, I'm guessing.
It's got to be a Bloodthirster. He would be a fool if he didn't go in that route. But they really need to just keep the poke up. Honestly, if they kind of forced a Baron but peeled in a different direction, right, and poked as they tried to harass them, that might be a way for Eclypsia to do something. Because if they keep splitting farm in here with Curse and not really doing anything, I feel like Curse would overtake them.
So you can see they want to back off. Renekton actually bought a BF sword after the last fight. So that's what he was saving up for. He had 1,400 gold, and they're still getting very close. They want to catch someone out here. You see the Rupture coming in there from Maluno. Still not catching on towards him. Highland's going to back off. They don't really want to give up the turret for free here. Dragon is up, and this seems like it's going to be a good engage point for both teams.
And this is actually a point where both teams want the other team to start Dragon, because Eclypsia wants to poke while they try to take an objective, and Curse wants to get Eclypsia's back against a wall, which would be the Dragon Pit. So unless they can sneak the Dragon off with the solo member, I don't see a team fight actually erupting there, because neither team would put themselves in that position.
I'm So Fresh has leashed it out there. They do spot the turret's gone down. He tried to defend it off. I got a feeling that Curse might try and gather in this mid. No, they're going to back off. Anguish is up top lane. Nobody anywhere near, and I'm So Fresh will pick up this Dragon for free. Without them knowing the timer, they have no idea on it, and Tabs comes across to help out. So Anguish picking up the farm in the top lane. Jatt, we're pretty close in this game. When it comes to a big team fight, if they were getting in that position again, taking away the fact that Baron probably did quite a lot of damage to Eclypsia, who is going to win in the big fight if they were just open ground?
If the fight starts before poke is landed, I think Curse wins. But if they get any Nidalee Spears or any good Shock Blast before the start of the fight, I think... I said Curse wins, right? If there's not, and then Eclypsia will win if they get some of the poke down. And I really think that's just the way this shapes down, because one Nidalee Spear really can just turn the tide of a fight. As soon as they hit one, they pretty much have to disengage and back off. So it's a matter of Eclypsia getting the right foothold with which they can poke from, or Curse finding the right sneak path almost so they can get to them without getting poked back. And it's going to be very interesting to watch these teams maneuver, because so much is on the line and so much hinges on the pre-fight.
And look at that. And how much damage that was done to Anguish. And he should be pretty tanky. He hasn't really got that much tanky. He's got a bit of magic resist on him, but the fact that he's lost half his hit points is a problem. And like you mentioned, that's all that's going to happen. Just one or two of those landing on two members, even the same member, that's going to cause problems. Creaton trying to keep them back, but again, you can see Eclypsia gathering up, starting to push through. Anguish is a little bit caught out of position there. Kuja's thinking of maybe trying to keep him out. That spear coming through, just ending before Creaton. Keeping back and forth.
Oh, he's actually going for an Infinity Edge on Ezreal, so he doesn't care that much for the lifesteal.
He's trying to sneak in here, but there's a ward. It's going to point him out. There's a spear on Maluno. Wow, it's still doing a lot.
It's going to continue to do a lot.
He's got the Void Staff as well, though, so it's just, you know, they've got the penetration in there to keep the problem on them. The Cursor, slowly but surely, they're backing up.
And this is where they're potentially leaving themselves open for some poke. And the turret actually is not much safety for Curse, because we've seen
trying to sneak in
how well Renekton can poke this. And they're just running away, so afraid of getting engaged on before the poke, and with good reason.
Yeah, the ward there, they realized that something was keeping them, giving them away. And this, whoa, super as one spear nearly drops there. One-shot kills is almost on the cards here, and that's going to cause some problems. They realize they've split the team out here, and now they're going to pressure in the mid lane. You can see it. That's going to be Eclypsia. They're going to drive it forward. They land the spear and the shock blast on towards Creaton all at once, and that immediately causes a problem. Anguish is going to come around the side. Extinct is just at the side as well. They do try and get in a position. They can't engage, though, and they force two members back here. I feel this may be an opportunity for Eclypsia to get a bit of damage on towards that turret, if not take it. They don't go for it. They're going to go for the inner instead. Actually, Extinct is trying to cover off. He wants to cover off that side, but as soon as he shows himself there, Eclypsia will just rush that mid.
Yeah, they landed all that poke, but because of the wave clear from Maluno, they're going to make it all back to lane. That's Creaton and Super Ace, who were the ones that got poked down by the Nidalee Spear. They didn't get anything out of that. They just really extended the game, didn't even gain that much of a farm advantage. they have to find a better way of capitalizing on those spears because Tab's actually running out of mana. They can't do this for much longer before they go back.
And the great thing is the fact they've got that acceleration gate, they can just disengage that quick. They don't need the Shirelias, which Curse have had to buy. Instead, they can build those items. And let's just look across the items. Who's really stacking up? Have we got any auras coming out here? We can see there's an Aegis of the Legion on Shyvana.
I mean, you look who's really stacked, and it's Creaton on Ezreal. Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Triforce. He's really getting fat, and the fact that Anguish has stalled out, I mean, Curse has stalled out this game long enough for him to catch up and pass Renekton and minions is a huge accomplishment in itself. Really.
They're pinging Baron again.
They have to do something. Their poke in the base hadn't been working. They haven't been able to clear this out necessarily with oracles, and they're hoping to catch someone out before fight and create a 4v5, because if they get comboed on like Curse wants to, they're going to be in big trouble. And here, Mick, it might be it.
Moonfall onto Heidel. They try and catch Heidel out here. They do manage to take him down. Is it going to be enough damage? They still haven't killed him. There he goes. Guardian Angel's popped. Is it going to be enough? I'm So Fresh getting himself too far involved. I'm So Fresh gets taken down. Super Acid's the one that picks up the kill. Extinct also takes down Heidel. They turn back on towards Renekton. Renekton's going to get dropped. His Guardian Angel's pocked. Kuja's in trouble. He goes down. Enemies is going to get taken out. Curse are on the comeback here. Could they manage to finish off a double kill again for Creaton? And he's just one more man remaining, and those spears still coming out. But it's not going to be enough. It was a 4-for-1 exchange, and that is the fight that Curse needed. They got into Heidel at the start.
And that's the second fight in a row where they're able to do that. And the huge victory for that is they burned 2 Guardian Angels and won the fight 4-for-1. So that spells disaster for Eclypsia. The Baron is going to be the natural progression after the next team fight because Curse seems to be in control here. Eclypsia really has to change up what they're doing right now because the standard style, the last 2 fights that they were defeated in, is just not how they're going to go. The initiation is strong enough to catch onto their poke comp, and just big items and some lifesteal finally coming out for Curse. The poke will become less and less effective, and they might actually be forcing on Baron here. They know Renekton is down, and they know Ezreal is chunking this in damage. Oh, there are the spears.
The spears still hurt, though. Maluna, they've already taken it down to half. They're avoiding the damage very well. That ward's giving you the position away. There's the spears, and I'm not too sure whether Eclypsia are going to get back into position here.
They're going to have to give it up.
I'm So Fresh, and there it is. The spear nearly got it.
That would have stole it.
That would have stole it, but it just took it in time, and now Curse just needs to back off from this one. Disengage, go back to base. You've tucked away the Baron. That was their only goal, Eclypsia now, and they've got to go back to the drawing board.
It's going to be very difficult. With all the sustain that Baron is going to be giving Curse, it'll be so much harder to poke them back off of turrets. They just need to hope that they can withstand this Baron and then somehow find a good fight, because they were super far ahead in this game, almost ready to write it off, and then the comeback began. So fitting that we get really the closest game of the set in the very third game of the grand final. Curse actually looking to be in the driver's seat here.
And the pressure on both these teams. Neither team have picked up a major tournament victory offline yet. And this is...
Never even been in the finals.
They've never been in the finals. This is a big moment, and Curse will come back. What is Extinct doing? He's baiting it. That's what he's doing. He's got the rest of his team coming up behind him. They managed to catch up towards Heidel last time. They're just going to tank up through this turret. And now Curse on the aggression. They've got that Baron. They've got a stack of items. They may even go for this one. Maluna goes in with the Rupture. There's no GA on enemies right now, and they're just going to keep poking on towards that turret. They've got a stack of minions. They may go for this one. You can see them continuing to put the pressure down. There's another Rupture landing. Creaton managed to land a couple of Mystic shots as well. And Eclypsia do drive them back. There's a big wave on the top. They could rotate round and try to take out that top turret. Angus clearing out the waves as well. I'm So Fresh has got to be careful. He doesn't get involved. Manages to steal away the main raid, though. Very nice.
So now it's a matter of them really flipping the tables on Eclypsia and trying to siege down them. Luckily, now they have creeps to block the Nidalee Spear, so it's much less likely that they get poked down. And with the tankiness and the Baron buff, the Spear hit Maluno. It didn't really matter that much. They're not making much headway on this middle turret. I would expect them. You can see now Angus running up. They might try to take the other outer turrets in this process and really gain some of this gold lead back that they lost early.
So as it stands here, you can see the gold lead is whittling away very quickly. It's down to 3K now. It was at 8K, I think, at one point.
8 or 9. It was getting up there.
It was definitely higher. And as it stands, you can see Super Az, he's going to go ward out the dragon for the first time. He's going to check in the dragon. In fact, they've not been able to pick the dragon up the whole game yet. They don't even know the timer on it. They have no idea on where that one's been happening. For the first time, they can feel they can get involved. Angus clearing out that big stack down that bottom. That's going to get him net him a hell of a lot of gold. True Shot Barrage whipping up the middle, clearing out the waves, catching everyone out. And Tabs, those spears, you know, they're still going to be strong, but
they're falling short.
They're falling short, and they're starting, to get used to dodging them, which is something that everybody's got to be used to. But it does take manage to get your water wings on to start dodging them back out again. But the damage is going to start being mitigated more and more.
And Curse has also figured out how to engage Eclypsia. They've found ways to force fights, and they're strong enough now that when they do, they will roll over them. The later it goes, really, if you're not getting the poke down from Italy, it's just less effective. And this time, Curse has the Guardian Angel advantage because the 2 Guardian Angels on Eclypsia have yet to recharge, and Curse has purchased 2 fresh ones.
They've just got 2 fresh ones on the carries. It's Angus that's going to be launching himself in there like he has done the last few times. Extinct has been just popping the targets. It's Heidel they've focused the last 2 times. It's worked out for them very, very well. And it's very hard for him to keep them away. He's got that hammer. He can try and keep them away. And there's going to be another Rupture capturing on towards enemies. And you can see Extinct just off the side. The rest of Eclypsia, they are not sure about this fight. Oh, but the spear landed. It landed on Super S.
No.
It still does a lot of damage to him. And as another Shock Blast actually doing a lot of damage to Creaton as well, they're not going to have enough to dive this one. They're just going to back off.
And that's all it takes, really. This game could stretch because of the fact that one Nidalee Spear can essentially repel the entire push, as we saw just there. They're warding pretty well around their backside so they don't get jumped in on. And, yep.
They just back off, lifesteal it back up. They've got our Zeeks, remember, so...
The Baron regen was helping them. They just lost the Baron buff, though, so the dive would be a worse option now. I wonder if they're still confident enough, though, if they find the right spell to initiate with.
Well, they keep poking onto... Oh, and there we go. The Spear and Anguish. That's enough to deter anyone. And they will back up once again. So, Spears do appear to heal.
And I think it really... as you look over at Civ HD, but really, you look at this, and it really talks to the speed and quality of the games in this tournament that this is the longest game. 44 minutes. Normally, your typical CLG EU game is the longest game of Tales of the Lane, so really, I don't know if people have reached these item thresholds yet today. The fights will become more and more explosive, especially for Curse. Let's see if they've gotten anything really huge here. Still just the Guardian Angel, still the Zeke's Herald. They're looking to get double Aegis. Slightly odd Cho'Gath build from Alunu, no Frozen Heart. Instead going for the Randwin's Omen. That's just to kind of increase their cluster fight in a lot of ways. Everyone gets sucked together, then they'll Randwin's them to just keep them there for even longer. And you can tell Eclypsia's been lost for about the last 15 minutes on what they need to do.
Yeah, they just went in for that one person to take a lead. Is it going to be Kuja? Is he going to tell them what to do? He's the experience, really, of the whole team. He's been around in the tournament scene for a long, long time. And here come Curse. They feel they may well have caught them. Everyone backing off from Eclypsia. They can see they're trying to push quickly in there rapidly, take the damage. Anguish is tanking up the turret. They're going to get another little bit of a poke there, but a Shock Blast on towards Creaton made them back off, and a little bit of speed there from Curse. They only got about one shot onto the turret, not enough.
And Creaton's not really able to get even close. Eclypsia's looking like they might want to start something, but it would be a terrible idea if they initiated on Curse. They're really probably just going to have to wait for the next Baron to come up and hope to pick a good fight there, because this turret thing is very much a stall tactic by both teams. No ground is really being gained on either side.
Well, it is for Curse, because they're slowly but surely clawing the gold back. The global gold, that is. It's still a 5-3 in turrets. They have a huge creep wave on the bottom and the top pushing up this time. Everybody's backed off. Everybody's claiming their own resources. The red buff going across to Creaton, blue buff to Tabs. Everybody clearing things out. Big wave on the top, big wave on the bottom, which is being cleared out by Heidel right now. And there is the gold stacks across the board. Let's have a look at this. You can see 14.3k to 13.2 for the two, Renekton and Jack. So still slight advantage with Renekton, of course, build up from that very start. But the big difference here is Creaton versus Heidel. Creaton now, he's been picking up those kills on those big fights. He's managed to gain a pretty large advantage.
And especially because Jace is kind of building like a very strong AD carry kind of bruiser Jace, but he's not an AD carry like Creaton is, right? He doesn't have Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, Last Whisper. He's got Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, and it's the auto attacks aren't there. Essentially, he's got a poke back, and then he'll have the 3 shots from his hypercharge that'll really be all he gets. But if Anguish goes in there right and just tanks it all with his Guardian Angel, it's not going to be that effective. It's going to be too hard for him to get that W shot onto the right target for the Jace player. And now, here's the Barons back up. This is kind of what they've been stalling out for. Can they get the right kind of poke engagement? Right now, though, Curse has all the control.
They do indeed. They force them back. And as it stands, well, Frozen Heart was picked up by Kuja, so he's trying his best to help his team out. Starting to pick one of those big items up on the support. But, oh, hello. Enemies has been caught out.
This is going to be a fight.
Enemies has been caught out. Extinct catching, gets the moonfall on him. It's Heidel they're trying to go for. Heidel's got Anguish all over him. Anguish is trying to do the damage. And Guardian Angels was popped, but the rest of the team are completely caught out of position here. And it's going to be Enemies. Enemies trying to tank up as much as he can, but I'm So Fresh also caught out. Rupture on towards him. Another GA popped, and Curse are going to disengage. They've managed to pop 2 GAs in that fight. Oh, Extinct pops in. Creaton picks the kill up, and that is now a 4v5. All GAs popped for Eclypsia, and I don't think one was lost for Curse.
Anguish.
Oh, it did. Yeah, Anguish is.
Anguish could have died in that fight, but the spear from Tabs actually came in right over the Guardian Angel corpse half a second before.
Tabs
look at
just
the damage.
shredded, but he manages to get away, and they both trade back and forward. Extinct actually taken pretty low as well. Nobody really wants to fight this one, but Angus jumps on towards Enemies. He's taken down. His Guardian Angels is back up. Kuja tries to use his ultimate, and that's going to catch. The spear went through. Enemies comes back in. Is it enough? No, it's not, because Creaton's off the back. He goes godlike and manages to do the damage. Heidel's chasing on towards Extinct here. Which one is he going to turn to? It's Super As. Super As flashes out there, and they disengage. It's a 1 for 3 so far, and that spear is not going to land. Everybody disengages just at the right point. Wow. What a great game.
A fight worthy of applause. Very close to Eclypsia turning that. A couple of those spears just razoring right by the Curse members. That could have turned in so many ways, and it was surprisingly well fought, I have to say, by Eclypsia, considering how they got engaged on before any poke came through, and still kind of came out. The damage from Heidel was actually really quite immense when he got the triple shot on Anguish, popping the Guardian Angel almost immediately. No Baron getting taken off of that. And when that happens this late in the game,
they're rushing to it.
Everyone goes back, and then just goes right back to the Baron. They're going to do it again.
Is Heidel in a position? Heidel's just backed off. He might be too late. Curse could take this Baron down very quickly. Anguish is not up yet, though, so it's a
they're going to rush it.
Super As is going to see the ward come in. There he goes. He's going to get straight into that ward. They're going to try and take it down. If you could select the Baron, please.
Half health.
See the hit points on the Baron.
It's a third. It's going to go.
It's going to go before they get in there. The spear comes through. It's not enough. And again, Maluno blocks it, and that's going to be the Baron picked up by Curse. The spear comes back through. Anguish was spawned just about in time, I think, to catch that Baron. If we could just look down now, I'm pretty sure he picked it up. Yeah, he did. So they're going to clear out the waves. Back to normal, and the gold is now just 1K apart. 50 minutes into this game, 17-16. This is the closest game of the day by a long way. Who wants to take it? Who is going to get it? Eclypsia or Curse?
Back to control game for Curse here. They have the Baron. Will they be able to get down any of these Eclypsia turrets? Because the poke has been able to keep them back. But that was when they had the gold lead, and that was when they were able to run the Baron off of Curse. This is now a fresh Baron on Curse. Fresh Guardian Angel actually on Creaton. And more damage. 428 minion kills, 8 kills. Really stacked Ezreal. Anguish really starting to hit items. When he gets that Gunblade completed, he's going to be a monstrous threat. And Eclypsia really just aren't hitting the same thresholds. Renekton doesn't explode like that and make you fearful. Jax isn't the same, like a 6-item Jace isn't the same as a 6-item Ezreal. And the Nidalee Spears were really as potent about 25 minutes ago as they are now, so it's a matter of Curse powering up and potentially taking over.
So what are they going to do here, Eclypsia? They're starting to be backed up against the wall by Curse. Curse, using their experience in tournaments, it seems, to just claw their way back into this one. Many teams could have given up. They were getting pushed right against their inhibitor turret. You know, they could have been just backing up. It's like, oh, getting down on themselves, but they seem to just dig in, dig deep. That one backfired fight from Curse, and Super As still getting taken very low by those spears, though. He's the one person that could easily be delicately taken down. And remember, his ultimate, his armor buff, is actually quite a big part in their team fights.
It's helping them a lot against the Jace Shock Blast especially. Not so much about the Nidalee Spears.
Yeah.
But instead, Taric, people always say he has a bad late game, but a lot of his power is hidden. So many auras, so many stats, and especially when you build that way, he's still going to be impactful. So not the worst trade-off for Leona late game, and they're really protecting these turrets. Well, you can see now Curse trying to switch it up a bit. Extinct going bottom on Diana. They're trying to maybe get an odd engagement.
Oh, they're going to collapse on Tabs.
Tabs is in trouble.
Tabs is in trouble. They can see they're collapsing around. Angus is going to pounce through any moment. There it is. Leap strike straight through. Has to use his Zhonya's, but it's going to be too little, too loud. Counter-strike comes in. Is it going to be enough? They do on in. And now Kuja's in trouble. They're going to drop Kuja. They come back around. The rest of the team going to react, though. Can they get out quick enough? Idol's going to dive in. Angus has managed to get out. Zhonya's Hourglass from Extinct. The rest of the team react through. Very well played, Curse, and now they're going to get that turret turning around. Very good, just catching them out of position.
60-second death timers, too, because we're 52 minutes into the game, and they have the Baron buff. These inhibitors are in a huge amount of trouble, and the whole game might be in danger right here. They're going to have the creep stack. They have a ton of armor on Jackson Cho'Gath. They might look to end on this push.
They might finish it right now. I'm so fresh. He's getting dived on. He gets dunked on, and tons of front damage. Already in trouble as well. This surely could be it. He's going to get on towards the fountain. Is it going to be enough? They need to finish off Heidel. They can't get him on the fountain. Doesn't matter. They need to take the inhib before you start taking the Nexus turret. There's the inhibitor going down. Here goes the Nexus turret, and the camera work is all over the shop, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. Heidel gets jumped on. Heidel's in trouble. He gets a GA puck. They turn on towards the Nexus turret. Heidel pops up. Rupture just at the right time. That's going to be a kill. It's going to be GG. And Curse Gaming take the Tales of the Lane Championships. They are the new kings of Europe, ladies and gentlemen. They did it the hard way. They beat Moscow 5. They've beaten Eclypsia. And they've done a fantastic job picking up their first major offline tournament. Congratulations, Curse EU. And what a fantastic tournament. What a fantastic game.